Jamie, you're Irish, so you're in the circulation area of the Sunday Times. Did you know about Marie Colvin before you started work on this film?
I did. Can I just first start by saying this is the first Q&A I've done without Roz and Matt, our director. So
you're a brave man.
I'm really feeling very exposed. Yeah, I did. I was aware of Marie's work. She spoke to you in a way that was very sort of palatable, I think. You know, and you see that in the way we depict her in the film and the way she was and trying to tell the human story, and wasn't overly concerned with what type of bullets were causing the harm or what type of explosions was. It was a human cost. And I think if you're a lot of people only receive their news that way. It's once a week. She wrote for the Sunday Times, and if you are only receiving like that, you want the very palatable version of it, something that you can, you know, understand. And I think she was amazing at that. Even from quite a young age, I remember being able to read her columns. So she had quite a big impact on everyone in the UK, really, and beyond.
How did the script come to you?
It came to me quite late. I think there was another actor who was attached to it at one point, who's a friend of mine, and I was actually filming a movie with him in Budapest at the time that it came to me. And I didn't say anything to him because I knew I didn't really know. You never really know what the situation is like that. And I knew Matt Heineman, our director's documentary work, which is incredible, and I was a huge fan of that. And Roz and I have known each other for a very long time, but 15 years probably, but as friends, and never had the opportunity to work with her. And there's certain...
Was she already attached?
She was already attached, yeah, she was. Certain friends in the industry, you like the idea of never working with them because you have this fear that they're going to be...
Not friends afterwards?
Yeah, well, no, just like that, you know, a different version of themselves when they work or something. So, but Roz is one of those people I always thought I would enjoy working with. And that package alone, and just you couldn't read that script and not be compelled to try to add something to it and be involved in it. So I was probably the final sort of piece of the puzzle. And then I had to do, I'm friends with Stanley Tucci, so I had to do some convincing to him to...
oh, you brought him on
come
board.
Along. Listen, I'm not going to take sole responsibility, but, you know, it's... Stanley's an incredible actor, and wasn't the biggest of parts, but we really wanted him, so I did my little bit, yeah.
And then you must have had to spend time with Paul Conroy to get inside his head.
Yeah, whereas Roz obviously had, you can so clear, I mean, I think she's incredible in this film, so clear how much research she did and how much sort of, you know, all her research was based on video footage and audio footage of Marie. She spoke to, couldn't get a hold of her. We've now met Marie's family, and we were in the Hamptons Film Festival a couple of weeks ago and had their support, and that was an incredible thing, particularly for Roz, I think. But she had, you know, all Marie's articles and everything that she could get a hold of, but she was obviously never going to get the real thing, but I was so fortunate I had Paul Conroy, who I'm playing in the movie, with us for the entirety of the shoot.
Was that a good thing or a bad thing?
It's a good thing. Not on day one, it wasn't a good thing. I think day one of film sets are so nerve-wracking anyway, and everyone's just so apprehensive and excited, and it's such a unique energy on the first day, and I didn't feel that I wanted Paul at the monitors with a set of cans on, so I actually, by this stage, you know, we'd been in touch a lot before filming. His schedule was more insane than mine, so we actually didn't get to meet in person, just over the phone until the flight over to Amman.
Was he still
Jordan.
working then?
No, he hadn't been out in the front line anywhere since Marie died, and since he sustained quite a horrific injury. His leg. I mean, he especially after a few drinks, he'll show you he's got a massive hole in his leg from that incident, and he just basically wasn't fit enough. And actually, when we were filming in Jordan, he had this idea that he would then use the fact we were so where we were geographically to then go to Yemen and get back on the front line.
To Yemen?
Yeah, he wanted, I know, it's amazing these people, they want to go to these places and tell the truth. I mean, it's so commendable. But, and that was his plan, but actually that was a very tough shoot. And it was, you know, we're 16, 17 hour days, brutal.
So physically tough, emotionally tough?
Yeah, totally. And so by the end, he wasn't fit enough. I don't think he'll make it out to a front line again, to be honest. He's, you know, I've been with him all this week in London. I literally flew in from London a couple of hours ago, and his leg isn't quite what it, you know, was. So he wants to continue telling the story, and you know, he's got a documentary out about their time in Homs and Marie's death and his escape from Homs, and he's still trying to spread the message as best he can.
With some shoots, the emotional intensity gets drained or relieved a little, you know, at the end of the day. Mm. Did it sustain here? I read that you were in tears sometimes on the set. I've
never, I wasn't alone in that. It was a very emotional, cathartic experience for all of us. I think mostly because Heinemann, our director, you know, he spent weeks interviewing all these real Syrian and Iraqi refugees who are displaced from those places and have ended up in Jordan, in Amman, where we shot. So a lot of that stuff you see, you know, in the like in the widow's basement in Homs, and when Roz is interviewing those women and asking them how they got to that point, and they're saying about their real stories. They're not actors. That wasn't planned. That is real. They're real tears. That woman who's saying that her husband went to get groceries and didn't come back, that's real. Oh so it was just, you can imagine what that's like to experience in those scenarios with the mass graves in Iraq. All those women were real Iraqi immigrants who'd been displaced from Iraq, and at one point they just started wailing and doing these tribal sort of chants and throwing the dust on themselves, and that wasn't in the script, you know. And then really? So suddenly we have Bob Richardson, our DP, who's, I'm sure most of you know him, he's won 3 Academy Awards. He was sort of in their face with a camera, and you know, it was that sort of line between, you know, is this, we want to capture this, but are we exploiting these people? But every single one of these people, and this is why it got so real and emotional at times, they would thank us for trying to help in any way to tell their story of the costs to civilians in these war-torn places, and that message was just always very strong throughout. You know, sometimes you make movies that are strictly, you know, entertainment, and they're just meant to be escapism for people for a couple of hours, and sometimes you do movies that carry a little bit more weight to them and feel like they're a little bit more important, and especially the timing of this, and anything that can shed light on, I mean, look at Syria. I mean, that stat that comes off the end, horrendous. Over 500,000 civilians since Marie was killed have been killed in Syria, and that's, people get desensitized to it. I think they get, you know, people become bored of it, I think, sometimes, and it's happening very far away from them. It doesn't concern them. Or compassion
fatigue, even. You just get
totally. And sometimes it takes an image. That's what's so fascinating, you know, playing a photojournalist, because sometimes it can take that, like in a very arresting image, like a boy washed up on a beach, you know, like happened last year, for everyone to stop and take notice. So, you know, making a movie that I think it's sort of a homage to the strife of these people and to journalism, really, and what these amazing men and women are willing to sacrifice literally everything to tell us real truth.
Please thank Jamie Dornan.